The house stood alone, forgotten. Emma as Daniel. Scared Liam, Lucas as Liam. Of a house, don't be stupid. But the house loomed, casting a long shadow over them. It was Liam who hesitated at the steps. The wood creaked under their weight. The door, half off its hinges, groaned open. A musty smell like forgotten memories hit them. Inside, dust swirled in the faint slivers of light from boarded-up windows. Emma as Daniel. See, just an old house. They moved deeper into the abandoned house, each step kicking up dust motes that danced in the air like tiny spirits. The air was thick with the scent of decay and neglect. The silence was heavy, almost oppressive, broken only by their breaths and the occasional creak of the old wooden floorboards beneath their feet. Liam swore the temperature dropped suddenly, a chill running down his spine as if the house itself was breathing. "Lucas," as Liam, "did you feel that?" he whispered, his voice tight with unease, eyes darting around the shadowy corners. Daniel just laughed nervously, his flashlight beam cutting through the darkness, revealing more of the decaying interior. They reached a grand staircase, the once majestic railing now covered in a thick layer of dust, a testament to years of abandonment. Liam ran his finger through it, leaving a clean streak, a small act of defiance against the overwhelming neglect. Suddenly, a floorboard creaked above them. Liam froze, his heart pounding in his chest, the sound echoing in the silence. Lucas as Liam, Daniel. He breathed, his voice barely audible, fear creeping into his tone as he strained to hear any other sounds in the oppressive darkness. The sound came again from a room at the end of the hall, echoing through the silent corridors like a whisper from the past. A single window, somehow uncovered, cast a pale light on a portrait hanging on the wall, illuminating it with an almost supernatural glow. A woman, dressed in white, stared back at them, her eyes strangely lifelike, as if she could see into their very souls. Lucas as Liam. "Who's that?" he whispered, shivering, his voice barely audible over the pounding of his heart. Daniel stepped closer, shining his light on the painting, trying to make out the details in the dim light. "Emma is Daniel. She's beautiful," he murmured, almost entranced by the haunting beauty of the woman in the portrait. Liam felt a chill run down his spine. The woman's eyes seemed to follow them, watching their every move with an unsettling intensity. Daniel reached out to touch the portrait, and the room went ice-cold, as if the very air had been sucked out. The flashlight flickered and died, plunging them into sudden darkness. The silence was deafening, and the oppressive darkness seemed to close in around them.
"Daniel, where are you?"
Liam cried out, his voice cracking as fear gripped him tighter with each passing second. A whisper, cold and faint, brushed past his ear, sending shivers down his spine. He couldn't make out the words, but the voice was filled with sorrow, a sorrow that seemed to echo from the depths of the room. His flashlight, still clutched in his trembling hand, flickered back to life, casting eerie shadows on the walls. He swung the beam around the room, desperately searching for any sign of life. Empty. But the whisper came again, closer this time, almost as if it was right next to him. The temperature plummeted, and the air grew thick with the smell of damp earth and decay, making it hard to breathe. Liam stumbled back, his heart pounding, and bumped into Daniel. S5. Eerie, whispering sounds filled the room, growing louder and more insistent.
"Did you hear that? It's getting closer."
He gasped, his voice trembling with fear and uncertainty. Daniel nodded, his eyes wide with terror, unable to speak.
"We need to go now, before it's too late."
They ran, their footsteps echoing in the silent house. A door slammed shut behind them. Liam didn't dare look back. The whispers followed, growing louder, angrier. They raced through the house, the darkness alive with unseen terrors. They burst out of the front door, gasping for breath. The house stood silent behind them, the setting sun painting the windows a bloody red. Liam looked back, his heart pounding. He could have sworn he saw a figure in the window, a woman in white, her eyes filled with a cold, ancient rage. S5, angry whispering sounds. They didn't speak as they walked away, their breaths clouding in the twilight air. Liam couldn't shake the feeling of being watched, the unseen eyes boring into his back. He glanced at Daniel, who was unusually quiet, his face pale. Liam stopped, turning back to look at the house one last time. Was it his imagination, or was there a faint light in the window where the woman's portrait hung? He shivered, pulling his jacket tighter around him. Some secrets, he realized, were best left buried, and some houses best left forgotten. S1, breathing heavily.